Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're basically going to put on our archaeological detective hats and dig into a really profound mystery from the deep, rich history of ancient South Asia. By decoding ancient Tamil texts and looking at some rock-solid epigraphical evidence, we're going to uncover the story of this towering, yet kind of enigmatic figure named Kadalan. It's an amazing journey where romantic poetry literally collides with hard, carved-in stone facts.
Okay, let's dive into this. To unravel this history, we've got 5 distinct chapters lined up. First, we'll set the stage with the Sangam maritime world. Second, we'll meet Kadalan of Vilangal. Third, we'll explore his poetic immortality in Akananuru 81. Fourth, we'll examine the Mangalam epigraphical evidence. And finally, we'll look at the tragic fall of Vilangal.
Starting with Section 1, the Sangam maritime world.
Now, just to ground us for a second, the Sangam era is this incredibly foundational period in South Asian history that stretches back over 2 millennia. It was characterized by this massive outpouring of prolific Tamil literature, which is actually a major historical source for us, as well as really robust international maritime trade. The geopolitical landscape of the time was dominated by 3 major dynasties: the Cheras, the Cholas, and the Pandyans. So we're talking about a highly dynamic, globally connected world.
Within this era, the literature actually categorizes the land into distinct landscapes. And our focus today is the Nathal, the vibrant coastal domain. Just imagine this visually grand, bustling coastal economy stretching all the way from Korkai down to Kumari. This was an absolute economic powerhouse. It was driven by vast marine resources, international shipping lanes, and heavy commercial traffic. This Nathal landscape, that's the specific world our protagonist ruled over.
Moving on to Section 2, Kadalan of Vilangal. Let's formally meet this obscure yet historically vital chieftain and really get a sense of the sheer scale of wealth flowing through his coastal stronghold, the city of Vilangal. Because Vilangal wasn't just some military fort, right? It was a massive economic hub. You've got high-value luxury exports like pearls and gems that were highly sought after by foreign merchants, including the Romans. You've got conch shells, which highlighted immense marine wealth and local craftsmanship. And of course, fine textiles that connected Vilangal to global maritime commerce. Basically, whoever controlled Vilangal had their hands on a staggering faucet of wealth.
And the man controlling all that wealth was Kadalan. But his reputation was actually beautifully complex. On one hand, he was celebrated as Mavan Kadalan, with Mavan essentially translating to great philanthropist or very generous patron. But on the other hand, he was a fiercely capable military commander. In ancient Sangam warfare, elephant cavalries, which were often fielded by the mighty Chera dynasty, were essentially the ultimate weapons of mass destruction. So to be celebrated for crushing enemy elephant cavalries, that tells us Kadalan possessed immense strategic and terrestrial military might.
Which brings us to Section 3, Akananuru 81, Poetic Immortality.
You might be wondering, how do we know so much about a chieftain from over 2,000 years ago? Well, through the brilliant poets of his time. The Akananuru is this classical collection of love poetry, and Poem 81, written by Alampurdi Satanar, uses this truly fascinating metaphor. The poem describes a hero who is hesitant to leave his lover, and he compares the deep, tearful, painted eyes of his heroine to the vast wealth, beauty, and glory of Kadalan's coastal city, Vilangal. He literally says he cannot bear to make eyes as beautiful as Vilangal beep. Now, this isn't just a sweet romantic line. It's a profound historical indicator. For a poet to use Vilangal as the ultimate standard of beauty, the city's fame had to have been universally recognized.
And if we look a little deeper into that exact same poem, we find some really cool linguistic clues about Kadalan's strategic dominance. The poet uses the word azhuvan. Now, in Sangam literature, this specific term has a dual meaning. It denotes both a vast expanse of the deep sea and a fierce, chaotic battlefield. By applying this specific term to Kadalan's domain, the text is emphasizing that his mastery commanded naval logistics out on the deep ocean, but he could also seamlessly turn the land into a fierce battlefield the moment he was challenged.
All right, on to Section 4, the Mangalam epigraphical evidence. This is the point where our story makes a hard pivot from romantic poetry to verifiable archaeological evidence. Let's historically anchor Kadalan. In the 3rd century BCE, we see the rise of the great Sangam maritime trade, which eventually peaks with Roman Pandyan commerce around the 1st century CE, but right smack in the middle. In the 2nd century BCE, we find the Mangalam inscriptions. These are ancient Tamil Brahmi scripts literally carved into the rock beds of Jain caves near Madurai. Finding a guy's name in a poem is one thing, but finding it carved into a 2nd century BCE cave, that changes everything. So let's actually decode this ancient inscription together, step by step. First, the inscription mentions Nedun Chejian, which clearly identifies the ruling Pandyan king of the era. Second, we see the word Panan, designating a high-ranking royal officer or envoy. Third, and here's the big one, we get the name Kadalan Vazuthi. Boom, there is our historical anchor. Finally, it says Kotupita Pali, meaning he donated a carved rock bed for a Jain monk named Nantaziri Kuan. Think about it, to be wealthy enough to sponsor a massive rock carving and prominent enough to be listed right alongside the king, this Kadalan was a major geopolitical player.
But of course, like any good archaeological detective story, there's a really fascinating debate among historians here. The core question is this: was the chieftain Kadalan of Valangil, the one mentioned in the love poetry, the exact same person as the royal official Kadalan Vajuti carved into the cave? The suffix Vajuti strongly points to close bloodline or fierce loyalty ties to the Pandyan royal family. So some historians argue they're the exact same man, acting as the Pandyan king's coastal representative. But others present a really interesting alternative theory. They ask, could Kadalan, which is rooted in the word Kadal meaning ocean, simply be a generic, inherited title given to all coastal maritime commanders? Regardless of which side you lean toward, both perspectives offer us incredible insight into how ancient coastal defense was structured back then.
Which brings us to our final chapter, Section 5, The Fall of Vilangil. As you know, with many great ancient cities, having immense wealth puts a massive target on your back. And the historical record turns pretty somber in another collection of ancient poetry, the Purananaru. Poems 53 and 125 recount destroying the greatness of Valangil. The Tamil word used there is Vizumam, which can be interpreted as either greatness or sorrow. The texts reveal that the mighty Chera king Yanakache Mantaranjeral Irumbarai besieged and destroyed the city. And we have to understand, the Chera Empire didn't just attack this place randomly, they specifically targeted Valangil to break Kadalan's maritime dominance and seize control of that highly strategic, incredibly lucrative coastal wealth.
So, through the destruction of his city, the physical footprint of Kadalan faded away, but his legacy absolutely did not. Kadalan remains this enduring symbol of ancient maritime dominance, international commerce, and military might. It is just truly remarkable how a few lines of romantic poetry, combined with a single sentence carved into a cave for a Jain monk, can completely resurrect a lost icon of a vibrant, 2,000-year-old world.
Which leaves us with a really thrilling thought to wrap up our explainer today. Right now, there are amazing deep-sea and terrestrial excavations ongoing at ancient sites like Kijodi and Korkai. As archaeologists dig deeper into the coastal sands and ocean floors, what other lost legends, fierce chieftains, and incredibly wealthy port cities of the Sangam maritime world are just waiting down there to be unearthed? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through history. I'll catch you in the next explainer.